Emerson Fittipaldi breaks his silence on George Russell's claims that Mercedes is treating him unfairly and giving Kimi Antonelli a better car. The F1 legend has responded strongly, making it clear that Russell needs to stop making excuses and prove himself on the track. Fittipaldi backed Kimi Antonelli, saying that a 19-year-old driver is already ahead of Russell and showing incredible speed and talent. His message to Russell was simple: instead of finding problems within the team, focus on performance, deliver results, and prove your worth like a champion. One of the most surprising storylines of the entire F1 season, the collapse of George Russell's championship charge, and the rise of the man nobody saw coming, his own teammate, Kimi Antonelli. At the start of the year, Russell was the clear favorite. New power unit regulations, a Mercedes seat with no Hamilton looming over him, and an opening round win in Australia to boot. Everything pointed to this being George Russell's year. Instead, it's turned into something else entirely, and now, F1 legend Emerson Fittipaldi is weighing in on what's gone wrong and what Russell needs to do to fix it. Let's rewind. George Russell entered this season as the man Mercedes was building around. He won the season opener in Australia, and for a moment, it looked like the championship was his to lose. Since then, just one more win. Meanwhile, his 19-year-old teammate has racked up 6 victories and turned the Mercedes garage upside down. Russell now sits third in the drivers' standings, a staggering 59 points behind Antonelli. 59 points. That's not a rookie hanging around the fringes of the title fight. That's a teenager dominating his experienced teammate in his rookie season. What happened? A mix of reliability problems and, more concerning for Russell, a genuine lack of raw pace. The car that won in Melbourne hasn't been the car showing up since, or at least not in Russell's hands. Think about what that actually means for a driver of Russell's caliber. This isn't a backmarker complaining about an uncompetitive car. This is a driver who beat Lewis Hamilton, who finished on multiple podiums, who was widely tipped as a future world champion, suddenly finding himself unable to extract the same pace from the same machinery as a teenager in his first full season. That's the part that should worry Mercedes and excite everyone else. Because when the same car produces 6 wins for one driver and just 2 for the other, the conversation stops being about the car entirely. It becomes about the man behind the wheel, and right now, that conversation isn't going Russell's way. Kimi Antonelli isn't just having a good rookie season. He's rewriting what a rookie season is supposed to look like. Fittipaldi, who has known Antonelli since his karting days, didn't hold back his admiration. Kimi Antonelli is doing a fantastic job, and he's showing his potential. Fittipaldi said, "I've known him since he was racing in karts many years ago. I know Marco, his father, very well, and I know the family well. Marco even coached my son Emo in F4. It's a great Italian family from Bologna, good people, racing people. This isn't just a driver having a hot streak. This is a kid who's been on the radar of F1 royalty for years, finally proving on the biggest stage that the hype was real. And at just 19 years old, he's not just competing for wins, he's competing for a world championship in his rookie year." Fittipaldi put it plainly, "I think for sport it's good to have a new boy on the block, you know. He's only 19, and he can win the championship. Let that sink in." A 2-time world champion is saying out loud that this teenager can win it all in year 1, and Fittipaldi's endorsement carries weight precisely because it isn't casual praise from a fan on social media. This is a man who has watched Antonelli grow up in the sport, who knows the family personally, who has seen the work that went in long before anyone outside Italy was paying attention. When someone with that kind of history says a 19-year-old is title material, it's not hype, it's a genuine informed assessment from someone who has nothing to gain by inflating it. That context matters. 6 race wins, a commanding lead over an established teammate, and an approach that looked remarkably composed for someone so new to F1's biggest stage. That combination is what makes Antonelli so dangerous in a title fight. So where does that leave George Russell? According to Fittipaldi, it leaves him in a battle that's as much mental as it is mechanical. Antonelli isn't just beating Russell on raw numbers, he's applying a kind of pressure that Russell has never had to deal with before. Not from a 7-time champion teammate, not from years of hype, from a 19-year-old who's simply outperforming him, race after race. He's putting tremendous pressure on George Russell, and George again has shown he's strong, Fittipaldi said. That's the key phrase, he's shown he's strong. Fittipaldi isn't writing Russell off. He's not saying the Briton doesn't have what it takes. What he's saying is that the way Russell responds to this pressure, right now, in this exact moment of his career, will define the rest of his season, maybe the rest of his career. And then comes the real message. The one aimed squarely at Russell. If George takes that pressure in a positive way like he showed many times he can do, I think it will be very interesting for the fans. It's going to be a dice for the rest of the championship. A dice. Not a coronation for Antonelli. Not a write-off for Russell. A genuine wide-open fight if, and only if, Russell can turn the pressure into fuel instead of letting it crush him. Let's be honest about what's happening inside that Mercedes garage right now. This isn't just about points on a table. This is about legacy. George Russell is no longer racing in Lewis Hamilton's shadow. He fought hard to get out of that. But now there's a new shadow forming, and this one's homegrown. Sitting in the garage right next to him, half his age, doing things in his rookie year that most drivers never manage in a full career. For Russell, the challenge isn't just closing a 59-point gap. It's proving that the swagger and confidence he's shown throughout his career, the guy who took on Hamilton, the guy who's never been afraid to speak his mind, can survive being outpaced by his own teammate on merit, race after race, in real time, in front of the entire paddock. Fittipaldi's comments matter because they come from someone who's lived it. A two-time world champion knows exactly what it feels like when pressure either makes you or breaks you, and his read on Russell isn't pessimistic, it's a challenge. He's essentially saying, I've seen you handle pressure well before. Do it again. Now. So where does this leave the second half of the season? On paper, the numbers heavily favor Kimi Antonelli. 6 wins to Russell's 2, and a 59-point cushion that's only grown as the year has gone on. But Fittipaldi's message is a reminder that championships aren't just won with a fast car, they're won with a driver who can absorb pressure and come out sharper on the other side. Russell has done it before. Whether he can do it again, with a teenage phenomenon breathing down his neck all season long, is the story that's going to define the rest of this championship. Is George Russell about to mount the fight back of his career, or is this the season Kimi Antonelli announces himself as F1's next great champion? Drop your prediction in the comments, and if you don't want to miss how this title fight unfolds, make sure you're subscribed. We'll see you in the next one.